Quiero esta noche venir
I have come here
a
tonight
este evento a
because
expresarles
I
primero mi
want
gratitud.
to express,
Mi gratitud sincera,
first and foremost, my
mi
thanks,
gratitud
my deep felt
amplia,
gratitude,
porque ustedes han
because
sido
you have witnessed
testigos
the
de un
process
proceso de
whereby
formación
ideas
de unas ideas, de un
turned
programa
into
y
a
ahora de una obra
program
de
and
gobierno.
later into
No
a
puedo dejar
government
de
plan.
invocar hoy
Allow me
la presencia
to
de grandes amigos
invoke tonight the presence of
seguramente
dear friends
están aquí,
that I am sure
pero
are
no están en
here,
vida. Están con
yet
sus
they are
ideas
not alive.
y con
They
sus
are
legados.
here, present with their ideas and
¿Cómo
their
no recordar
legacies.
hoy a mi padre, a Iván Duque
Allow
Escobar?
me to
¿Y
recall
cómo no recordar
tonight
hoy a Fabio
my
Echeverri
father,
Correa?
Iván Duque Escobar, and to recall
qué?
Fabio Echeverri Correa.
Porque
And
hace más de
why?
3 años
Because it
en la
was
casa
over
de
3
Fabio
years
Echeverri
ago at
estábamos
Fabio
con Luis Guillermo
Echeverri's
y con
home
mi padre
that we were there with Luis
surgió una
Guillermo
conversación
and my father,
donde
and a
empezó el
conversation
camino
arose,
para construir
a
una campaña
conversation
presidencial.
that started
Luigi, que fue mi
the
compañero
construction
como
of a
gerente
presidential campaign. Luigi accompanied
extraordinario de
me
una
as an
campaña
extraordinary
llena de
manager
vigor y de
of a
promoción
campaign
del talento juvenil de Colombia.
full of dynamism and where we promoted
nosotros,
the young talent of Colombia.
un grupo
It started
pequeños.
with us. It started
Recuerdo
in
a
small
Fabio con su
groups.
voz,
I recall
llamándonos a muchos de
Fabio
ustedes, hablando de
calling
Iván
many
Duque.
of you to talk
Algunos me
about
conocían
Iván
por
Duque.
mi labor en el Senado. Y otros
Some
apenas
knew
me
me
estaban
because of
conociendo.
my work in Congress, and others were
Recuerdo que
just
muchos de
starting
ustedes
to
nos
know me.
recibieron a
I
comienzos del
remember
año
that many
2016
of you met with me in early
ilusión,
2016.
escepticismo
We met
quizás,
with illusion, sometimes
después
with skepticism,
muchos
and
con
later
motivación.
with
Ustedes
enthusiasm
vieron y fueron
and
testigos
motivation. And you
de cómo
saw
empezamos
and
a
witnessed
construir una plataforma
how we
política,
started to build a political
recorriendo todos los
platform
rincones de Colombia,
by traveling
haciendo unos
all over
talleres
the
que se
country,
llamaban Construyendo
organizing
País,
workshops called
escuchando
Building
los testimonios de
Country,
los ciudadanos y
hearing the
nutriéndonos de sus
testimonials of
ideas,
citizens and nurturing
después
ourselves with
convertirse
their
en
ideas,
un plan de gobierno.
and that later became a government plan.
que fue
That
enriquecido después con las
plan
ideas de
was
Marta
later
Lucía,
enriched with the ideas
y
of
que
Marta
tenía
Lucía
206 propuestas
and had
para una
206
Colombia
proposals for
mejor, una Colombia
a
de futuro,
better Colombia,
una
a
Colombia de
Colombia of the
legalidad, de
future,
emprendimiento
a
y de
Colombia of
equidad.
legality, entrepreneurship,
Es el
and
programa
equality. It
que
is
fue
the
validado
program that
a
was
través
validated
de distintos
through
procesos
various
que
processes
empezaron primero internamente
that
en un
started
partido, en nuestro
first
partido,
with an internal process in a
después
political party, our political
sumar la
party,
mayor
and
votación que haya
later
registrado.
received the highest vote ever
programa
in
se
Colombia's
conectó con el
history.
pueblo colombiano
That program connected to the people
fue
of
un programa
Colombia because it
fue
was a
elaborado con
program
sinceridad,
that was crafted
hablándole al
with
ciudadano a los
sincerity,
ojos
addressing citizens,
corazón
looking
de
them in
cada
the
hogar
eye,
de este país.
and reaching the heart of every household in this
un programa
country.
que, como se lo dije a los ciudadanos,
A program,
no era
like I
un
told
artículo
citizens,
de
was
propaganda,
not an
sino
advertising
un
piece,
legítimo instrumento para monitorear,
rather a
seguir,
legitimate tool for
escrutar la
monitoring,
labor de un
tracking,
gobierno.
and scrutinizing the work of
como se lo
a
dije a tantos
government.
ciudadanos, mi mayor
And
anhelo
like I told many
es que el 7 de
citizens, my
agosto del
greatest
2022,
desire is that on August
cuando camine
7,
de salida
2022,
en compañía
as
de
I
mi
cross
familia
the
por la
Plaza
Plaza
de
de
Armas, accompanied by
y los
my
ciudadanos
family
reciban
on my way out, and
documento,
citizens
que quizás lo
receive
tengan
that
ya
document,
bastante perjudido
a
por el paso del
document
tiempo,
that
puedan decir,
may
"El
then
presidente
be
lo
stained by the passing of time, can say the
empiezo por
president
ahí,
kept
queridos
his
amigos?
word." And why did I start by
Porque la
saying all this,
política
my dear
vieja en
friends?
este país
Because old politics in this
es muchas
country
veces indoctrinaria,
is all too frequently
es muchas veces
indoctrinating.
traicionera
It is all too
de lo que se
frequently
promete, de lo que
treacherous
se dice, de lo que
of
se
what is
expresa en
promised
campaña.
and said and stated during
eso hay
a
algunos que
campaign.
dicen,
And that's
"Eso
why
eran
some
palabras de campaña."
say that was
nuestro caso,
campaign
no.
rhetoric.
Yo
In
quise
our
ser
case,
presidente de
that was
Colombia
not so.
y
I
trabajar para
wanted
ser
to be
presidente de
president
Colombia
of
con
Colombia
el objetivo de
and work to
cumplirle a
become
los
president
ciudadanos,
of Colombia
de
with the
cumplir mi
purpose
palabra
of
y de gobernar
delivering to
siempre con la
citizens, of
frente en
honoring
alto
my
y
word,
que
and
ningún
always to
colombiano
govern
se sienta
with my
traicionado
head
por su
held
gobierno.
high so no Colombian feels betrayed by his leader.
Con ese programa empezamos el 7
We
de
started
agosto.
with that program on August 7. We
ejercicio
started an exercise that is
difícil.
difficult.
Nunca pensamos que esto iba a ser una tarea
We
fácil.
never thought this was going to be an easy
Por eso no nos
task.
quejamos.
And that's why we don't
Sabemos que hay
complain.
momentos difíciles,
We know that there are
que hay momentos
difficult
que nos duelen,
times,
que hay momentos que
that
sacan
there
de
are
nosotros
times
quizás dolor,
that pain us,
son
that
mucho más
bring
los
out
momentos de
pain
alegría
in
y de
every one of us,
satisfacción
but there are far
cuando se
more
recorre el
times
país,
of happiness and
cuando se abraza
satisfaction
un
when we
colombiano
travel the country,
clamando
when
porque
we
llegue el
embrace a
Estado o una
Colombian
comunidad
who is
que recibe
clamoring
con gratitud
for
la
a
presencia
state
de
in their
distintos
community
programas
that receives
que hacen parte de un
with
gobierno.
great gratitude the various programs
hablé a los
of
colombianos
the
de
government.
legalidad.
I spoke to Colombians of legality. Why?
Porque una de las peores tradiciones
Because one of
que ha
the
tenido la
worst
vieja política ha sido
traditions
el amancebamiento
of
con la
all the
anarquía,
politics has been
el amancebamiento con la
the de
corrupción,
facto cohabitation with anarchy, de facto
amancebamiento con el
cohabitation with
clientelismo,
corruption, de facto cohabitation
amancebamiento
with
con las
cronyism,
componendas, con las
de facto
trapisondas.
cohabitation with compromises, with
hablar siempre de
underhanded
legalidad y
plans.
convertirla en un
We
sello de
always
gobierno.
wanted to speak of legality and turn
Porque
it
la
into
legalidad
the
es
seal
lo
of
que le
our
permite
government,
a los
because
ciudadanos
legality is
encontrarse
what
con las dos
allows
palabras de nuestro
citizens
escudo cuando habla de libertad y
to
orden.
face the two words on our
Porque lo que
shield
une la libertad
when
con el orden es
they
la
speak
legalidad.
of liberty and order, because what
Y es la
unites
posibilidad de
liberty
que
and
todo
order
ciudadano
is
en
legality, and it's
cualquier
the
rincón de Colombia
possibility
se
of every
sienta
citizen
protegido.
anywhere in Colombia feels
Porque está
protected
allí la égida de la
because
justicia.
they know that they are under the
Por
aegis
eso es
of
el
justice.
convencimiento en que la
And
legalidad
that's
es el
why I am
instrumento
convinced that
más
legality
importante
is
para la
the
construcción
most
de una sociedad
important
democrática.
tool for building a
Y la
democratic
legalidad tiene que ver
society.
con enfrentar
And legality
sin
has to do
aspavientos, sin
with
vacilaciones, sin dubitaciones,
standing up to without
las amenazas
hesitation,
que
without
quieren
voluntariness,
usurparle,
all the
arrebatarle a la
threats
ciudadanía el
that
ejercicio
want
de
to
la libertad.
usurp, to take from citizens the right to
Por eso, desde el
exercise
primer día de
liberty.
gobierno entendimos
And that's
el reto,
why from the very first
el
day of our
enorme reto, el
administration,
difícil
we
reto
understood the challenge, the
haber
monumental
encontrado
challenge,
un
the
país
difficult challenge
que había
of
visto crecer en los
finding a
4 años
country
anteriores a
that
nuestra toma de
saw how in
posesión los
the
cultivos ilícitos
4
de
preceding
50,000
years to our
a más de 200,000
inauguration saw
hectáreas.
how illegal crops grew from 50,000
Esas
to
200,000
200,000
hectáreas
hectares. Those
que son el
200,000
combustible de la
hectares
violencia,
are the
que son
fuel
el
of
amparo del
violence,
narcotráfico
are
y que amenazan la
what protects
institucionalidad.
drug trafficking and
Encontramos un
threatens
país
the institutional
no
framework.
solamente con
We
esas
found a
cifras,
country
sino que veía además
not
con
just with these
preocupación
numbers,
que
but
se habían reducido los grupos
was
manuales de erradicadores
concerned by
de
the fact
menos
that manual
de
eradicator
100 que
groups
teníamos en el
had
2010
fallen from less than 100
a la
that we had in the
triste
year
cifra de 23 grupos manuales de
2010 to the
erradicación
sad
de agosto.
number of 23 manual eradication
visto
groups
además
on August 7, 2018.
que se habían
We had
limitado las
also seen
herramientas para combatir
the
semejante fenómeno.
curtailment of the tools to combat this
Y que aunque
phenomenon.
algunos
And that
hablaban
even
de
though some
voluntariedad en la
spoke
erradicación, lo
of
cierto es que la
willingness
resiembra se estaba
to
convirtiendo en un
eradicate,
tormento en todo el
replanting
territorio
had
nacional.
become a torment all
Por eso
over the
emprendimos
country.
una lucha
And that is
contra ese
why we
fenómeno.
undertook a battle
Por
against
eso volvimos a motivar a
this
nuestra fuerza
phenomenon,
pública
and we
para
decided
estar
to
presentes en los
motivate our armed
territorios. Por
forces
eso
to be
hemos
present in
realizado
the
más de
territories, and that is
43
why
consejos
we
de
have organized
seguridad.
over 43 security
Y hoy puedo
councils.
decirles a ustedes
And
que lo que va
today
corrido
I
en
can
nuestro
stand
gobierno,
here and tell you that
hemos
to
erradicado
date my
más de
administration
90,000
has
hectáreas.
eradicated over 90,000
Sí,
hectares.
enfrentando todavía
Yes,
retos.
still facing many challenges.
Sí, enfrentando
Yes,
todavía
still
retos.
facing challenges
Porque la resiembra
because
sigue siendo
replanting
una amenaza.
continues to be a threat.
Pero se han
But
erradicado
they have
gracias
been
a la
eradicated
valentía
thanks to the
los
bravery
héroes
of
de
the
Colombia.
heroes of Colombia.
De esos
Those
hombres
men in
uniformados
uniform
que se
who
levantan
wake
en
up
las
in the
mañanas con
morning
la plena convicción de
convinced
permitirnos a todos
that
gozar de
they
la
are going
libertad.
to allow us all to enjoy
veces son
liberty and are
injustamente
sometimes
vilipendiados,
unfairly
o a veces son
vilified and
expuestos
even exposed
a no poderse
to
defender
not
con las
defend
herramientas
themselves
libres,
with the free
democráticas,
democratic
que entraña el
tools
Estado de Derecho.
provided in the rule of law.
esos son
But
los
they
héroes
are
de
the true
Colombia que han
heroes of
permitido
Colombia,
enfrentar
and
ese
they are the ones who have allowed us to stand
Son los
up
mismos
to
héroes de
that
Colombia
threat. And it is the
que han
heroes
logrado
of Colombia
incautar
who
droga
have seized
por
drugs
valores
in
multimillonarios.
multi-million-dollar
Lo que
amounts.
se ha
What has been
incautado
seized increased.
valor,
In money
en
terms,
droga,
the drugs
durante los
seized in the
10 meses de
10
nuestro
months of our
gobierno,
administration,
para los que
for
son del
those of
mundo de
you
las
who come from the
finanzas,
world of
equivalen
finance,
a
is
todas
equal
las
to
utilidades
all the
del
profits
banco
of
de
the
inversión más grande del
largest
mundo, que se llama Goldman Sachs,
investment
en el
bank
año
of the
2018.
world, which is Goldman
Eso
Sachs
muestra
in
la
2018. And this is
determinación que
revealing
tiene
of the determination,
nuestra fuerza
of the
pública en
resolve of
Colombia.
our armed forces
Mira
in
que tenemos
Colombia,
como gobierno.
and the resolve of
Y
the
si alguno
government.
tiene
And if
alguna
anyone
duda
has any
adicional,
additional doubts,
basta con darnos
suffice
cuenta
it to understand
cada
that per
tonelada
ton
de
that the
droga que
United
incauta los
States
Estados
seizes
Unidos en sus
along its
fronteras,
borders, Colombia
incauta
seizes
18.
18 tons,
Eso nos
which is
muestra
very revealing
que no hay
of the fact that there isn't a single country in the world that does more to stand up to the scourge of drug trafficking like Colombia. And our task to stand up to that phenomenon with legality is genuine. It is a country decision. It is not the result of guidelines or campaigns or requests by anyone. It is our moral duty to stand up to the phenomenon of drug trafficking, and that is why we will continue to stand up to it all the time, everywhere in the country, because it is the duty of the people of Colombia.
Y somos conscientes
And we
además
are
que el
also
fenómeno
cognizant
también
that
repercute en
this
las familias de
phenomenon
este
is
país.
also impacting the families of our
Así lo
country.
vivimos
And we
con
have
Marta
seen
Lucía
that in
recorriendo
our skin and
Colombia.
flesh with Marta Lucia
En
as
cuanto
we
rincón
traveled
del
all
país
over
nos decían
Colombia.
las madres
In every corner of the country,
que estaban
mothers would say
profundamente
to us that they are
preocupadas porque sus hijos
deeply
en los
concerned because
parques y a
their
las salidas de
children
los
in parks
colegios
and on the
tenían
way
el
out of
acecho de los
school
jíbaros
were
que se
being harassed
escudaban en la
by
dosis
drug
personal cuando
pushers
llegaban las
who
autoridades para
would then
enfrentarles
resort to
el
the
ilícito.
personal doses whenever
Por
they
eso
were
también es bueno
confronted by
recordar que
the
en estos
police.
10 meses
Hence
de
the
gobierno
importance of
fue
remembering
este
that
gobierno
in
el
the
que
first
tomó una
10
decisión
months of this administration, this
necesaria,
government made
valiente,
a necessary, brave,
otros
valiant
gobiernos no
decision
quisieron
that
hacer,
other governments
simplemente
did
para
not
mantener
want to
apariencias
make, simply to keep up
de
appearances
heterodoxia.
of
Pues este
heterodoxy.
gobierno no le
But
tembló
this
la mano
government
sacar
did not
adelante un decreto
doubt
que
when
permite
it enacted a
decomisar
decree that
cualquier
allows to
dosis que se
seize
esté
any
consumiendo o
dose
que se esté
being
transportando en las calles
consumed
de
or
Colombia en
transported
defensa de
along
la
the
familia
streets of
colombiana.
Colombia in defense of the families of Colombia.
Esa es nuestra lucha
That
por la
is
legalidad frente al
our struggle
narcotráfico.
for legality
Y somos
as
conscientes de las
regards
decisiones
drug trafficking,
judiciales
and we
y
are
somos
aware of
respetuosos,
judicial
pero allá
decisions and we
estuvimos
are
también en la
respectful,
Corte
but we also
Constitucional
went to the
expresando
Constitutional
nuestros
Court
argumentos
to present
a
our
plena luz del
arguments
día
in full
para que fueran
daylight
evaluados
so that they were
para mostrar
assessed, and also
que no hay
to
discusión
show that there is
sobre un
no
herbicida.
discussion on
Hay
a
algunos que quieren
herbicide.
reducir la
Some want to
conversación
reduce
o la
this
discusión a un
conversation or
herbicida.
this discussion to a single
Nuestro
herbicide,
planteamiento
but our position
mucho más profundo.
is far more
Y es que el
in-depth,
narcotráfico
and it is
amenaza
that drug
las
trafficking
comunidades más vulnerables
threatens
de
the
nuestro
most
país.
vulnerable communities of our
El
country.
narcotráfico
Drug
amenaza la
trafficking is threatening
institucionalidad.
the
El
institutional
narcotráfico
framework.
está
Drug
ayudando
trafficking
a esos
is
grupos criminales
helping those criminal
para que
groups
puedan amenazar y
to
masacrar líderes
threaten and
sociales,
massacre
o
social
lo que es aún
leaders,
peor,
and
para
what
que
is
puedan
even worse,
corromper la
to
institucionalidad
corrupt
precaria de muchas
the
regiones
precarious
que no han
institutional
tenido una
framework
presencia histórica del
in
Estado.
regions where
eso, cuando hicimos
there has
nuestra
been
argumentación,
no
fuimos claros.
state presence historically,
Aquí
and
no
that
se
is
trata
why
de
when
creer
we
que una sola
presented our
herramienta
ideas, we're
es la
very
bala
clear.
de
We
plata,
said that a single
sino de
tool is
tener
not the
todas las
silver bullet,
herramientas.
but that we need
Porque hay
all the
algunos que llevan
toolkit,
el
because
debate
some are
al
reducing
herbicida,
this debate to the
pero a poco
herbicide,
carácter
but they have
tienen
very little
para
character
expresar su dolor
when the
por
time
aquellos
comes to
jóvenes
express
que mueren por
their
minas
suffering
antipersonales
for all
cuando
those
están en las
youths who
labores de
die to
erradicación.
landmines
Eso es
during
doble
their
moral.
eradication work, and that is a double standard.
Nosotros también
We
entendimos que la
also
lucha
understood
por la
that
legalidad
the
implica
struggle for
enfrentar la
legality
corrupción.
entails standing
Y
up to
enfrentar la
corruption,
corrupción
and
significa
standing up
tener
to
todas las
corruption
capacidades
implies having
para llamar las
all the
cosas por su
capacity
nombre.
to call things by their name.
¿De qué sirve
What is the
hablar
purpose of
de
talking of
gobernabilidad
good governance
si la
if
gobernabilidad es a
good
costas del erario
governance is
público?
at the cost of the
Eso
public
no es
treasury? That is
gobernabilidad.
not good
Esa es la
governance.
entrega de
That
las
is
instituciones.
simply handing
Por eso
over our
prefiero
institutions. And that
1000
is why
debates
I
de
prefer
contenido
1,000 debates
a
of
una
contents
aplanadora sometida
than
por dádivas para
a
sacar adelante las
machine
iniciativas de un
that
gobierno.
is bribed into destroying the initiatives of the government.
Por eso me
And that
complace
is why I am pleased
que hayamos podido tener debates
that we were
profundos.
able to hold in-depth
se ganan,
debates. Not all
porque en la
were
verdadera
won,
democracia no todo
because
se gana,
in a true democracy,
genuinamente
not
están las
everything
ideas.
is won, because we have
Y algunos
genuine
dicen
ideas, and some
que
have
el gobierno
said
no ha tenido
that the
capacidad de
government
sacar
has not
normas.
had the ability
Se han
to
sacado
enact laws, and we have.
8 o 9,
8 or 9.
vendrán más
More
seguramente.
will come, I'm sure.
Algunas no han tenido el
And some
beneplácito del
have
Congreso.
not been
se
well
entenderán
received
las
by
razones,
Congress, and the reasons may
pero es
be
más
understood,
importante un
but
debate así de frente
it is more important to have
y
an
reconociéndole
open,
también al
candid
Congreso sus
debate
aportes.
while we
yo
recognize
no alimento
Congress's contribution. And
pugnacidad
that is why
institucional,
I don't nurture
tampoco
institutional pugnacity,
creo que el Estado
nor
se
do
pueda
I
someter
believe that the state can be
componendas
subject
que lo debilitan.
to compromises that
acuerdos.
weaken it, because the agreements
Los acuerdos
The agreements
deben ser
must
siempre
always be
transparentes
transparent
y basados
and
en
based
principios.
on principle.
Pero la lucha
But
contra la corrupción
the struggle
también tiene
against
que ver con un
corruption
Estado que muestre
requires a government that shows transparency. And that is
sin esperar
why,
a que estuviera
without
aprobada
waiting
la
for the
ley,
enactment of the law, we
decidimos que
decided
todos los
that
altos
all
funcionarios del
high-ranking
gobierno
officials
hicieran públicas
had to
sus
publish their
declaraciones de
income
renta
tax statements
para
so
que
that
todos los
every
ciudadanos de
citizen in Colombia could
puedan ver
see
nuestros
their
patrimonios
wealth,
y
their
puedan ver
net
cómo se
worth, and
comportan
see
a lo largo
how
de la vida del
it
servicio al
performs
gobierno.
during their stay in government.
sacamos
And that
adelante
is
con la
why, together with the
vicepresidenta,
Vice President,
el
we
decreto
enacted
que
the
le pone
decree
fin
that puts
a
an
los
end to
pliegos sastre
tailored terms
y
of
que hace generalizado
reference,
en todo el
and
país
we have
los pliegos
generalized
tipo para
type
que se acaben
terms
los
of
carteles
reference
de
all over the
únicos
country to put an end to the
proponentes. Y óigase
cartels of
bien,
single bidders,
para
and
que
hear
se
me well,
acaben los
to put an
contratos
end to the
amañados
rigged
que se quedaban
contracts
en pocos
awarded to a few
contratistas,
contractors,
herramientas que hemos sacado
tools
adelante
that we
en
were
tan solo
able to
10
put
meses de
in place
gobierno.
in the first 10 months of our administration.
Por eso hemos
And
querido
that's
también
why
fortalecer
we
las
have
herramientas de
strengthened the
monitoreo y
tools
escrutinio.
for monitoring and
Hacer
scrutiny
visibles todos los
to
contratistas
give
de
visibility
la
to all the
infraestructura del país.
contractors of the country's
Que los ciudadanos
infrastructure,
sepan en qué
for
obras
citizens to
están y
know
cuál
in
es el
what
estado de las obras
works they
y qué otros
participate, the
contratos
state of those
tienen
works,
y
and what
cuál es
other
su
contracts do
capacidad
they have, and what
financiera,
is their
si es que la
financial
tienen.
standing, if they
Pero
have
todo
any.
esto
But all this
porque
because
entendemos
we
una
understand
sociedad
that a
que
society
hace pública la
that
información
makes
está acabando
information public
con los
is putting an end to the
monopolios de
monopolies of discretionality
que muchas veces se
that
prestan
all too
para los
frequently
caminos
lend
oscuros.
themselves to dark avenues.
justamente en
And it is
defensa de
in
la
the defense of
legalidad
legality
que hoy quiero
that
hacer una
today
referencia
I want to
explícita
explicitly
al tema
refer
de la paz.
to the topic of peace.
Porque si bien
Because
nuestra
even though
Constitución
our
dice en el
Constitution
artículo
provides in
22
Article 22
que la paz es un
that
deber y un
peace
derecho
is
de
a
obligatorio
compulsory right
cumplimiento,
and duty,
también es
it is
cierto que el
equally
artículo
true that
2
Article
nos
2
dice
provides
que es el
that
deber
it
del
is the
Estado
state's duty
proteger
to
la vida,
protect
la
the
honra,
life,
los
honor,
bienes, los
properties,
derechos y las libertades
rights,
de
and
los
liberties of
ciudadanos.
all citizens.
Por eso
And
le hace
that's
daño a
why it is
Colombia
harmful for Colombia,
algunos quieran
for some to
perpetuar ese falso
perpetuate
dilema
that false dilemma
entre
between
amigos y
the
enemigos de la
friends and
paz
enemies of
que fue
peace
creado
that was
en
created
otras épocas
in
con
past
propósitos
times
electoreros
with electoral goals
y
in
sobre
mind,
todo con
and
propósitos
above all
maniqueos.
with Manichaean
Todos los
goals,
colombianos
because every
queremos la
Colombian
paz,
wants peace.
todos la queremos
We all
construir,
want to
pero la
build
queremos
peace, but we
construir
want to
con
build
verdad,
it with
con
truth,
justicia,
justice,
con reparación y con
reparation,
no
and
repetición.
non-recurrence.
Nosotros entendemos
We understand
que hay
that there are
personas
people
que han dejado el camino de las
who
armas
have
y que sueñan
left
con el
behind
camino de la
them
legalidad.
the road of arms and dream with
Por eso,
legality. And that
hemos
is
estado en
why
los
we
territorios.
have visited the various
Por eso he
territories.
visitado
And that is why I
personalmente
have
varias
personally
CTCRs
visited several territorial spaces for education and
hablar con esas
reincorporation,
personas que salieron
to
de esa
talk
tormenta
with all
oscura,
those people who have left
de la
that
cual
dark
también fueron
storm,
víctimas, muchos de ellos
where many of
reclutados siendo
them were
niños,
also victims because they were
para
recruited
poderles
when they
mostrar
were young
que
children,
todo aquel
and
que
show
tiene
to
un
them
genuino
that
interés
anyone who has the
de entrar en
genuine
la
interest
legalidad
to
tiene el
form
apoyo
part
de
of
nuestro
legality
gobierno.
will receive the support
Y
of
como
my
dicen por ahí,
administration.
obras son
And
razones y
some
no,
have
obras son
said
amores y
that
no buenas
love is
razones.
deeds and not sweet words.
A mí me
That is
sorprende
why I am surprised
que algunos
that
quieren
some want
apelar a
to
narrativas ficticias
resort to
para
fictitious
tratar de enlodar el
narratives to
propósito
sully
genuino
the
de este gobierno.
genuine purpose of this government.
de decir que
They
aquí no
try
se
to
quiere
say
la
that we
paz,
don't want peace,
que no hay
that there
voluntad
is
de
no
ayudarle a las
will to
comunidades
help
golpeadas por la
communities
violencia.
so harshly affected by
Pues a
violence.
esas
And to
afirmaciones
that,
temerarias
to those reckless statements,
y amañadas, se le responde como
I
se
answer
responde siempre,
like we always
con la verdad.
answer, with truth.
Cuando empezó nuestro
When
gobierno,
our administration started,
solamente se habían desarrollado,
we had
después de 18
only
meses de implementación,
seen after
dos
18 months of
proyectos
implementation, only
productivos
2
colectivos.
collective productive
tenemos
projects were in
23.
place, and today we have
Cuando empezó
23.
nuestro gobierno,
When our administration started,
teníamos
we
apenas en el
barely
territorio
had
dos
in the
planes de
territory
desarrollo con enfoque
2
territorial
plans with a
culminados
territorial
para
development
atender
approach
170
completed to
municipios
service 170
golpeados por la violencia.
municipalities
Hoy se han
affected by violence, and today
16.
we have 16 in
Se
place.
cumplió con esa tarea.
We have
Y
delivered.
además,
Plus,
supimos
we
entender a
were
aquellas
able to
personas
understand
que necesitaban el
that
apoyo del
those
Estado,
who need
de
the government
alimentación, de
support, who
atención,
need food, who
y
need
hemos
care,
cumplido eso,
and
y
we
por eso,
have
como
kept
no
our
tenemos
word, and
ninguna
since
duda en el compromiso,
we've done
le
that,
pedimos a la
we
misión de
have no
verificación de Naciones Unidas que
reason
pudiera monitorear
to
cómo se adelantaban esas
not
labores.
ask the UN verification
algunos
mission
tratan de
to
apelar a algo
verify
todavía más
all that
temerario.
work, and some resort to something that is even more
Tratan de
reckless.
insinuar
They try to insinuate
que el lamentable
they-
hecho del asesinato de líderes
that
sociales
the regretful assassination of
un
social
propósito
leaders
del Estado.
is a government goal. No.
lo denuncié
I
el día de mi
denounced it
posesión como
on the day
presidente,
I was inaugurated as president,
advirtiendo lo que habíamos visto en los
and
últimos años
spoke of what we had seen
y
in
manifestando
recent
una
years and
genuina
expressed
preocupación.
my genuine concern,
yo sufro, a mí me
because I
duele el
suffer.
asesinato de
I
cualquier
am
líder
pained by
social,
the
pero
assassination
sobre
of
todo me
every
duele el
social
asesinato de
leader,
cualquier
but I am
colombiano.
also greatly pained by the assassination
desde el
of
primer
any
día de
Colombian, and
gobierno
that is why
lanzamos una
from day
iniciativa,
one of this
el Plan de
administration we
Acción
launched
Oportuna.
the Timely
Por eso,
Response
desde que
Plan
empezó el gobierno,
initiative,
buscamos
and
una
that's
integración
why we
institucional.
try to achieve
Y aunque
institutional
muchos
integration, and
han
even
tratado
though
de valerse
many
del
have
uso
tried to
acomodado de
resort
las cifras,
to the
lo cierto es
use
que un
of
reporte
numbers, the
público que
truth
se
is
hizo hoy,
a report that was
presentable
published today,
en una discusión de
and
liderazgo
is the
social
result
en el
of the
Cauca,
social
pudimos demostrar que lo que va
discussion
ocurrido en
in
nuestro
Cauca
gobierno,
allowed us to
la
show
reducción
that
del
to
asesinato de
date
líderes sociales es del
the assassination
33%.
of social leaders has dropped by
que en el
33%, and that in 96% of the Colombian
no se está
territory
presentando ese fenómeno.
we don't see that
¿Basta
phenomenon.
eso? Por
Does
supuesto
that
que no.
suffice? Of course it does
Porque se
not,
trata de llegar
because
a
it is a
cero.
matter of bringing this
Porque no
number to
queremos a
zero,
ningún
because we
colombiano
don't
siendo
want a
víctima
single
de la
Colombian to
violencia.
fall victim to violence.
Pero yo digo
But
esto
let me
con la
say
transparencia
this
de un Estado
with the
que
transparency
está
of a
mostrando
government
con
that is
claridad
clearly
sus
showing its
propósitos
true goals
tiene sentido
and
autocrítico.
has a true sense
Eso
of
lo enfrentamos
self-criticism.
siempre sin
And that is
ninguna
something that we
discusión,
have confronted
así
with
tiene que
no
ser.
discussion, because that's how it has to be.
Pero también quiero
But
hoy hacer
allow me to refer tonight to
a que en la discusión
the
sobre la
fact
implementación
that
de los
the
acuerdos
discussion on the implementation of the peace
no podemos
agreements,
ser timoratos
we
si hay cosas que nos
cannot
preocupan.
be
Porque no
wimps.
podemos ser
There are many
claudicantes ante las
things
ideas
that
que
worry
ustedes
us, because we are
escucharon a
not
lo largo de
going
una campaña
to
presidencial.
sacrifice all the things you heard during the
puede ser
presidential
que si
campaign,
nosotros manifestamos
because
las
if we
preocupaciones
expressed our concerns
frente a la responsabilidad de
vis-à-vis
los
the
victimarios
responsibility
para reparar a las
of
víctimas,
the victimizers,
no
of the
fuéramos a defender
perpetrators,
esos postulados desde el
to
gobierno.
redress victims,
Yo recibí
I
con sentido
received
patriótico en mi escritorio
on my desk with a patriotic
proyecto de ley
sense
estatutaria de la justicia
the
especial para la
draft
paz.
law on the statutory law
Examinamos esos
of the
más de
special
190
jurisdiction for
artículos
peace.
en detalle
We
y
analyzed in detail the over
encontramos
190
6
articles, and we
que
came
merecían
across
ser
6 that
objetados
should be objected
haya
and
una
deserve to
deliberación
be objected to
transparente,
assure
genuina en el
a
Congreso.
transparent, genuine discussion
otras
thereof in
razones,
Congress, among
porque
other
nosotros
reasons, because
reclamábamos
we were
que los
saying
victimarios
that
tuvieran la primera
perpetrators
línea de
are the
reparación
first
a sus víctimas.
to have to redress
eso
their
implica
victims,
que
and
ellos
that
digan toda la
implies
verdad
their
de
telling
sus
the
relaciones con
truth
el
of their
narcotráfico,
relationship
que entreguen
with drug
todos sus
trafficking,
bienes,
to
sus
hand over
verdaderos
all their
bienes,
properties, their true
y no las
properties,
cifras
and
irrisorias
not the laughable
que
numbers
entregaron hace
they
un año y
presented
medio.
over a year and a half ago.
Reclamamos
We demand that the judicial administration by the Attorney General's office not be curtailed. To assure justice be done, we demand that those who commit crimes against humanity are not the most senior leaders must also be brought to justice, and we demand that extradition not be curtailed so that we don't have line jumpers who, resorting to the peace process, will allow drug traffickers to say that they are going to speak the truth so that they receive all the benefits. And we presented those objections, and like I said yesterday, I will accept the decision of Congress or that of the High Court, but I also want to clearly state that if I had to present those objections again, I would, because principles must be defended always at all costs. Some voices have tried to say that it is a defeat. That why did the president present the objections that they wore him out? But no, sir. Because one is never defeated when one is fighting for principles. Those who are defeated are the ones who decide to sacrifice their principles. Those who abandon their convictions for the temporary applause are the true losers. Losers fear that ideas be defended with democracy. I honored my Republican duty. I honored my government plan, and like I said yesterday, I will accept the court's decision, but I will always defend what I believe is the road for this country to achieve peace with legality and justice. Because here we understand decisions, but we will always be present, following very closely to act legally whenever the law or the Constitution are violated. And let me be equally clear. I understand and respect the separation of powers. But I also want to say that I interpret the indignation of the people of Colombia because many citizens, many innocent citizens have had to undergo lengthy processes of preventive arrest, and I would not be convinced otherwise. What the country saw in those videos that have sickened us is a drug trafficker negotiating and conspiring to export drugs. What the country saw is a mockery to the generosity of those who believed in a process of demobilization, disarmament, and reinsertion. But hear me well, never will I cease to defend legality in Colombia, nor will I cease to call things by their name, and I will continue to say that A.K.A. Jesus Santricha is a drug lord that I hope will see the weight of justice fall upon him. When we defend legality, my dear friends, we must also speak about what is happening internationally, because diplomacy without principles is nothing more than hypocrisy. Diplomacy for appearances. Diplomacy tailored to passing interest offends our sovereignty. For years, Colombia allowed the dictatorship to prey on all the institutions of the people of Venezuela. And for many years, diplomacy
de salón,
This ballroom
miró
diplomacy
para el otro
turned a
lado
blind eye
cuando se estaban
when
destruyendo todas las
all
instituciones
the economic
económicas
institutions
y sobre todo
were being destroyed
se mantuvo
and
en silencio
remained silent
cuando algunas
when
personas
some people
expresaron su voz
expressed
contraria y
their
fueron llevadas al
opposition.
ramo verde. Yo no creo
I
en esa
don't believe in
diplomacia.
that diplomacy.
Nunca he creído
Nor
en
have
ella.
I ever believed in it,
Y nunca
nor
creeré.
will I ever believe in it,
Yo puedo decir
because I can say
que cuando miro
that
el óleo de
when
Alberto
I
Lleras
see
en
the
la
painting
oficina
of
del
Alberto
Presidente de la
Lleras that
República,
hangs in the office of the President of the
recuerdo a ese
Republic,
gran
I
colombiano
recall that great Colombian
que yendo contra la
that
corriente se
who,
paró
going
firme
against all odds, stood
contra los
firm against the
atropellos
abuses
de la
of
dictadura
the
naciente
nation
en Cuba,
dictatorship in Cuba.
que se
And
unió con Rómulo
that
Betancourt
joined
por todo el
Rómulo
continente
Betancourt
para
to travel the
denunciar
entire
justamente
continent to
que lo que se
denounce
estaba presenciando
that
allí era la
what was
hecatombe de un
happening
pueblo
in
que iba a
Cuba
quedar
was the
sometido
destruction of
a
people
todos los
that was
estropicios
going to
posibles.
be subject to all
Por eso
forms
también,
of horror.
siguiendo ese
And
ejemplo,
that is why, following that
pensando en que
example,
la verdadera
believing
diplomacia es la
that true
defensa de los
diplomacy is the
principios y las
defense of principles and
convicciones y la
convictions
defensa de
and the
los
defense of
instrumentos
multilateral
multilaterales como la
instruments
Carta
like the
Democrática,
Democratic Charter,
es que fui
that
como senadora a
I,
denunciar a Nicolás
as
Maduro ante la
Senator,
Corte Penal Internacional.
denounced Nicolás Maduro before the
dije que si
International
tenía el
Criminal
honor de
Court
ser
and said that if I
presidente,
ever had the honor of
motivaría a
being
otros jefes de
president,
Estado a que
I would
hicieran lo
encourage
propio.
other heads of state to follow suit.
Y hoy tenemos
And today
9
we
jefes de
have
Estado
9
que han
heads of state
acompañado
that
la
have
denuncia que
supported
interpusimos.
the denouncement we
Y
filed
también lo
before
dije
the
en campaña,
ICC. And
que esa
I also
diplomacia
said
de
during the
salón
campaign that
era la
that
que nos había
ballroom
llevado a ser
diplomacy is what
condulgentes.
led us to
Y óigase
be
muy bien,
accepting
serviles
and
ante
even
una institución como UNASUR,
to
que terminó siendo
be
el brazo
subservient
pueril
to
de la
UNASUR that
diplomacia
turned
de la dictadura
into
venezolana.
the arm of the Venezuelan
Por eso,
dictatorship. And that is why
retiramos
we
a Colombia de UNASUR.
pulled Colombia out of
Y lanzamos y
UNASUR and we
constituimos Prosur.
launched CONSUR.
Y
And
óigamelo muy bien,
hear me
queridos
well,
amigos.
my dear friends.
Por eso,
That is why
nunca dejaremos
we will never
de decir las
cease
cosas por
to
su
call
nombre.
things by their name.
Por eso
And that is
reconocimos a la
why
Asamblea y
we
al
have
presidente
recognized
Guaidó.
the National Assembly and President
Por eso
Guaidó, and that
promovimos
is
el
why we
cerco
promoted the
diplomático
diplomatic
y lo
blockade
seguiremos
and will
promoviendo.
continue to promote the diplomatic
Y por eso
blockade, and that is
denunciamos
why
que esa
we have
dictadura
denounced
premie y proteja al ELN
that
en su
dictatorship
territorio para que
that
desde
not
allá
only
atente contra
protects
Colombia.
but rewards the ELN,
Por eso
and they
hoy,
attack Colombia out of
más que
Venezuela.
nunca,
And that is why
pueden tener
you
la
can
plena
rest
certeza
assured that
que
in
la
the
defensa
defense
de
of
la legalidad,
legality, without
sin entrar
engaging
en
in
discursos
warmongering
belicistas,
discourses,
estaremos
we will
siempre
always stand
acompañando al
firm
pueblo
next
venezolano
to
hasta que
the
alcance
people of
la
Venezuela
anhelada libertad y
until
la
they
reconstrucción de sus
achieve their
instituciones.
liberty and the reconstruction of their institutions.
Toda esta
This
discusión de la
entire
legalidad
discussion on
que
legality
tiene que ver con la
that has
justicia
to do with justice
es la que nos ha
has
motivado a
moved us
presentar en el
to
Congreso esas reformas
submit to
necesarias
Congress the necessary
para que la
reforms so
justicia
that
pueda
justice
ser
can be
mejor,
better.
pero buscando también un
Always
diálogo
trying to engage
acertado
in
con la
an open
administración de
dialogue
justicia.
with the administration of justice.
Yo soy un
I
convencido
am a firm believer
lucha por la
that
legalidad
the struggle for
lo más
legality
importante
is
para una
the
visión de
most
desarrollo.
important thing for any
Pero aquí están
development
mis amigos
vision. But I am
empresarios.
here with my
Colombianos que han
businessmen
empezado
friends,
sus
Colombians
negocios desde
who
hace
started their
muchos
businesses
años.
many years ago.
Algunos que han
Some
heredado
who inherited
de otras
from past
generaciones el ímpetu
generations
empresarial
the
y lo han
entrepreneurial
crecido y
spirit
lo han
and have
multiplicado.
multiplied it and grown
Y
it.
veo también
And
acá
I also
jóvenes
see young
emprendedores,
entrepreneurs here tonight,
millennials que están empezando
millennials who
sus nuevos
are
emprendimientos
undertaking
para hacer de Colombia un
new
lugar de
businesses to
ciencia,
turn
tecnología e
Colombia
innovación.
into a place of science, technology, and
gobierno ha
innovation.
querido poner el
And that is
emprendimiento en el
why this
centro
government
de
has
la
placed
discusión del
entrepreneurship
desarrollo.
at the heart of the
Porque
development
creemos en que el empresario
discussion, because we
no puede
believe
ser
that
visto como una
entrepreneurs
fuente de
cannot be
ingresos
seen as a
fiscales,
source
como fue por
of
años,
fiscal income, as was the
sino el
case for
verdadero
many years,
socio
but to see
de toda
them
la
as a true
comunidad
partner of
para generar
society to bring
bienestar y
about
mejorar la
well-being and
calidad del
improve
empleo.
the quality of jobs.
Siempre
I have
dije
always said
que una de las
that one of
tragedias
the
del emprendedor en
tragedies of
Latinoamérica
entrepreneurs in Latin
estado
America
expuesto
is that
a
they've
dos
been
tipos de
exposed to
gobiernos.
two forms of government. to those who always stigmatize them and call them the rich to exacerbate the class struggle, or those who attempt to view them as a source of income that allows government to spend more by imposing many taxes on them, and in so doing hinder their performance. You met me as I traveled to Colombia, and when I said that we have to take away from old politics that shameful rhetoric when the time comes to defend private initiative, and that is why we speak of entrepreneurship, and we motivated at a micro, small, medium, and large business level, because that is how one builds country, and that is why we decided to, from day one, to give entrepreneurs of any size a sense of support, and that is why we submitted a law for economic reactivation that reduced the nominal income tax rate, that allows that 100% of the VAT be discounted from capital goods and a 50% discount of the local district taxes, and to have a simple regime for the smaller ones, so that through a single tax they can clearly and transparently formalize themselves. And that is why we have given entrepreneurs in technology and creative industries zero income tax for 7 years if they meet a minimum investment and minimum number of jobs, and we did the same in agriculture. 10 years with zero income tax with a minimum investment and a minimum number of jobs. Because we believe in entrepreneurship. That is why we have intervened over 611 red tape procedures with the Colombia Simple, Colombia Ágil, by eliminating 200,000 procedures, by automating and simplifying these procedures. And since we believe in entrepreneurship, that is why we in the infrastructure implemented a policy which is to complete. We found that 70% of the 4G projects were paralyzed or shelved, full of complexities, and many arguments between the state and contractors. And thanks to the support of the Vice Minister and a great minister like Ángel Orozco, today we can say that 70% of the 4Gs are currently in execution and creating jobs all over Colombia. And thanks to the signals that we have shown the country, we are seeing an economic reactivation. But that is not enough. We want Colombia to grow more. In 2017, we grew by 1.4%, last year by 2.8%, and the last quarter had achieved that performance, and this year our expectation is to grow by over 3.5%. But we have also seen how in 1 year we were able to increase 6 ranks in the multidimensional competitiveness index, the only country in the region that improved its ranking. And that moved me also to see that of over 1,100 cities in the world, only 5 have a Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution with the World Economic Forum, and the first in a Spanish-speaking country was opened in Medellin, revealing that Colombia can be the seat of that fourth industrial revolution. Because we believe in entrepreneurship. Led us to launch the program of harvest and have a fixed sale, which is an agricultural contractor where small land owners can sell to buyers through a contract all their harvest, and we now have 13,000 farmers in that. We believe in renewable energy, and because we believe in entrepreneurship, we have seen the growth of retail trade, and this is sending clear signals. And thanks to that, the foreign investment exceeded 17% in the first quarter. I could give you more numbers, my dear friends, but the essence is that this administration wants this country to be a country of entrepreneurs, because the success of our businessmen, be they micro, small, medium, or large, is the success of Colombia. And that is why we're working with the various economic sectors, correcting flaws in the state, always assuring that entrepreneurship is the engine to overcome informality, which is the biggest weight in our social policy. And you may be wondering, that program that we presented, that was comprised of 206 proposals that spoke of legality, has accomplished what? In 10 months, we have increased the budget for food meals by 42%. And hear me well, this year alone, Colombia awarded the highest budget to the education sector in our country's history. Because one thing is discourse and another thing are the discourses that go hand in hand with the funds. And that is why we are convinced that the development plan will double the single school day of increasing school coverage for children from 1 to 2 million children, and bring school meals to 7 million children during their 187 days of school. And that is why we want to have 600,000 students a year by the year 2022 graduating from high school with a degree in technology. And that is why this year we will reach out to the first 80,000 youths who will have access to free university education. And by the year 2022, we will have 234,000 students studying free in university. And that is why, my dear friends, that we have entrusted the Ministry of Health to manage the 222 public hospitals, to improve their management and administration. We know we have a long way to go, but this year we hope to put in place a scheme so that we can bring up to date the recovery of the address in our public health system. And all these are government actions that you have helped build, actions that are positive actions that will reach every territory and empower women in the first parity cabinet of Colombia, and that hopes to reach out to the most forgotten regions of the country with comprehensive care. We cannot say that things have already been done, no, but at least we are on our way there. This country cannot follow the pessimistic discourse of many, nor can it fall in what those who want to plant polarization are doing. I've said this in the past and I repeat it. There is a minority that wants to destroy, but there is a great majority that wants to construct. There is a large minority that is always resorting in the face of adversity to protest, and a large majority that wants to resort to proposals. There is a large minority that wants to resort to aggression always, and a large majority that wants to appeal to solutions. It is not an easy task. The task before us requires the best in every one of us. It requires resilience, which is turning adversity into opportunity. And I invite you all, so that within the framework of this meeting, and to thank you for your message of supporting us, and I thank your support. Every day we have to go out and defend these arguments and these government actions, and we will not allow black clouded news to erase what we are building as a country. We are self-critical and we receive criticism with respect. Above all, constructive criticism, we will listen positive criticism because we want to improve. But let me tell you, my dear friends, that if I have taken so much of your time, it is because of my gratitude for you and for you to hear from me without a prompter, without a script, without a document before me, but to talk from the bottom of my heart with the knowledge of the government that we want to do what is best for Colombia, and we won't cease to do so a single day. And allow me to say, allow me to tell you, thank you very much for your applause. Let me tell you here tonight that Colombia is a country, a marvelous country, made up of good people, a country full of environmental treasures, of traditions. Colombia, a country that has a female name, Colombia, that is celebrating its bicentennial. Colombia, a country that celebrates its bicentennial to look at the past and to correct for the future. A country that won't be subject by political pettiness or personal interests. We will never be crushed, nor will we subside to what we're doing and is recognized by the entire world. I feel truly honored to be the President of Colombia. And I understand the frustration of many citizens. I understand the complaints of many citizens who for years have felt abandoned because we have participated in 32 country building workshops here in the community in a wonderful exercise of open dialogue with the people. And I can tell you that when I travel Colombia, even during the most difficult times, it is the smile of a child in the triangle of Telembi, or an entrepreneurial woman in Yopal, or a farmer in Boyacá who works his land, how we recover our energy. Our country needs to bring out the best in us, and the best in us starts with being capable of bringing us together around common goals. The only thing I aspire to on August 7, 2022 is to walk out with my head held high and travel all over the country as a citizen with the satisfaction of the work done. And that duty has to be fulfilled in the next 3 years of our administration. And we will do so with love and dedication and results. But today, more than ever before, I need to tell you that we need each and every one of you, because it is the optimism that has brought you to where you are. Optimism has helped you build your companies, and optimism has led you to generate formal jobs amidst so many difficulties. And today, I want to invite you all to every day replicate and repeat that optimistic message of Colombia. And at the same time, for us to be strong in the defense of the rule of law, to stand firm and demand severe justice for criminals, and at the same time be generous with those in need. That is the government program that you supported. That is the government program that has allowed us to get to know Colombia. And I may be criticized for many things, but I will never be criticized for leading this country with ideas that are different from the ones that elected me. I thank you for this opportunity, and let me tell you that this meeting touches my heart. Thank you very much.